stock tractor class. And in this class tonight, we're going to see 10 Case International tractors, 3 AC tractors, and then 1 John Deere. So the John Deere fans will have 1 shot at victory tonight. First up in this class will be Esden Lane from Dayton, Minnesota, and he has a Case International 1486 tractor. Take off.
The smoke machine is in gear. We can hear the whine here in the arena as they'll attempt to suck out all of this black smoke that'll come out of the diesel tractors. But this is what the crowd here in Indiana like to see, because a lot of farmers in attendance, and they want to see the Internationals go against the Alice Chalmers. There's 1 John Deere in the class, Ernie Ropp out of Kelowna, Iowa. He'll be the lone Deere trying to beat these big red Case Internationals. So Esden Lane, the Dayton farmer from Dayton, Minnesota, will bring the crowd to their feet with his International 1486, a former national champion in the 7, now pulling in the 12. Here we go. He's on his way, and we are rolling. And he has run out of power. Turbocharger problems out there at about the 175 foot mark. A tough break for Red Line Fever, one of the prettiest tractors you'll see. Bachelor on the circuit, Esden Lane. Here he comes off the line. He had a real smooth pull going. You can see the smoke machine being hooked up there to the right of your picture, and all of a sudden he just flat runs out of power, so some kind of turbocharger problems.
And we're watching the officials. Here's the distance, 178.7.2. Bobby Byrum from Suffolk, Virginia has a Case International tractor. He's hooked to the sled and he's ready to go.
The Country Rose, we saw Bobby run earlier in the 9,000 pound class. Suffolk, Virginia, down in the southern part of that state. Esden Lane went 178.7.2. That's the distance to beat as he comes alive. A little bit of leakage up at the top, but nothing to worry about. Here we go. Country Rose is on, and boy, oh boy. Excellent run, excellent pull for Bobby Byrum.
He's going to be out near, I'd say 220 feet, somewhere in that vicinity. There's a good shot of him unhooking his helmet. I think he's pretty happy with that run.
Well, they've taken the footage markers down on our side of the track where John and I sat because of the smoke tube running along the track. Here he comes as he gets a pretty good bite off the starting line, and then it begins to settle down, and it's taking a lot of power as it has all weekend. We've had an excellent power track here at Super Bowl 13.
They're disconnecting him from the smoke tube, and here is the distance, 213.7.7. 213.7.7 for Bobby Byrum. As I mentioned earlier, there is only 1 John Deere tractor in this 12,000 pound class, and it's Ernie Ropp, who is set to run right now. From Kelowna, Iowa, with a John Deere 4430. He has the pressure built up. Pulling away from the starting line. Front end up a little bit at about 75 feet, drifting to the right. And a good run going for Ernie Ropp, and he spins out here just in front of us, very close to the lead. Perhaps he'll have it.
John, just as he left the line, we learned that was Warren Ropp, Ernie's son, doing the driving. From Kelowna, Iowa. They're John Deere dealers out there in southeastern Iowa, the 4430, and you'll never see a better running Deere in this class than the Ropp tractor. They really had some speed up off the line, a tremendous pull.
And here it is, 211. 211.9.0, so it's not quite good enough to take the lead away from Bobby Byrum, but Warren Ropp comes through with 211.9.0, a good strong pull.
And Jerry Hart, and you can see as he backs up to the sled, the smoke crew is up there disconnecting the warm-up tube because these diesels warm up prior to the start of their class, then during the class. So the smoke tube, the warm-up tube is there, then when he backs up, they take that away and they hook him up to the main tube. You'll also notice that Jerry has his brand new fire suit on, which has become a new rule with the National Tractor Pullers Association. I believe after May 1st of 1986, that rule will take effect 100%, but the majority of the drivers have already started wearing them. And I think it's an excellent rule. You see the helmets and the fire suits, and we're in a motorsport that requires that. Jerry Hart from Vandalia, Ohio now. He won this class a year ago, John. He won the 12,200-pound super stock class. He finished second. He's the runner-up on the Grand National Circuit in this class as well. He's a tough competitor. The distance to beat, 2:13.7.7. The Barnstormer from Buckeye Country's on his way. He's flying.
And a terrific run for the Barnstormer. Kind of had to tiptoe down that right sideline a little bit there at the end, but I believe the pole's good enough to put him in the lead.
And John, he would have thought when he went past the 200-foot mark that he was going to take it right out the gate, but Dave Hager's NC Plus Old Ironside sled, that weight box goes up there and it gets him every time. Here he is coming down the track on the replay. He was moving, had a lot of speed, but comes up a couple feet short of a full pole.
And it comes up 2:26 and 7.2, 2:26, 7.2, and that puts Jerry Hart in the lead with Bobby Byrum in second place with 2:13, and Warren Ropp at 2:11 and 9 inches in third. Bill Berg and Bret Berg have drawn back-to-back poles in this class, and the first one is going to be Bill Berg.
With never enough, identical 3688 Case International tractors, the new style as of about 2 years ago. The Farmington, Minnesota father and son team, and they've pulled here several years now as they've backed up to the counter sled, and you can see that the front end has been lowered slightly. Remember, this is the 12,200-pound super stock class. They're loaded for the maximum amount of weight on the tractors that they can physically load on. And the smoke tube has come to life as the Vaculator Outdoors winds up, and here Bill Berg winds up as he makes a beautiful start. He's flying. 2:26 is the distance to beat. It's going to be, oh my word, and he runs out of power as he gets under the turbos right at the end of his pull. Bill Berg, and never enough, the professional contractor from Farmington, Minnesota, just out of the Twin Cities area.
Not quite enough to take the lead, but it could put him into the top three. We'll wait for the graphic to come back up. He drifted a little bit to the right early in the pole, you can see there, but then corrected it and took it right down the track. Nice strong pull, but he did lose power right there at the end. Just ran out of power at the end. As you can see, the front of the tractor dropped down quickly. And here it is, 2:12, 6.8. And that is going to be good enough to put him in third place behind Jerry Hart and Bobby Byrum. 2:12, 6.8 for Bill Berg.
And that'll bring up son Bret next.
We've seen the first half of the father and son team perform, and now here comes Bret Berg in his Case International tractor.
John, we might note, if the folks will probably get a close look at the tractors going down, a lot of safety features. One of them is a blanket around the transmission and the flywheel right underneath the decking and the steering column. It's a safety feature built in to these tractors to keep all the pieces in should something happen to that area. The front end has been lowered on this tractor, helping to balance it. And Bret Berg is off the line here again. A good head of steam, a lot of power. And John, tonight, the track is really taking power, and these guys are running out of it.
And he's going to be even short of the 200-foot mark, and so he won't be very happy with that pull, and it doesn't look like it as you see on your picture there. The helmet comes off. Here's the replay. A good straight run. Drifted a little bit to the right. Just ran out of power in between the 150 and the 200-foot mark. And so that's going to do it for Bret Berg. The pull is 173 feet, 173, 10.7 inches. 173, 10.7 for Bret Berg. And so now we'll look to Johnny Klug, who is due up. Out of Stockport, Iowa, another Case International tractor in this class that's dominated by Case International tractors. Johnny Klug is being hooked up, and he's ready to pull. And the leading distance right now by Jerry Hart 226, 7.2.
Well, John Klug has been a national champion many times before, but in this class in 1985, he finished in third place with his Case International 1066. As we indicated earlier in the broadcast, he's made a number of changes, so it's now a 3688 with the new sheet metal and some other modifications to the tractor. And it's nice to have the new look. John Klug, the farmer, and the grain merchandiser from southeast Iowa, and also promoter of the Iowa State Fair in Des Moines in the summertime. Here we go, he leaves the line. Hey, he is on it, oh boy, boy. I don't know if that's gonna be quite enough. If he doesn't go past 226, 7.2, I think it'll be enough at least for second place.
The Red Baron comes up with a very strong pull here in the 12,200-pound class. He got the front end up off the ground.
Oh,
Dave.
That was an excellent run. He really had the tractor nicely balanced. Here we go in the replay, and here again at 200 feet, you think he's going to take it all the way.
Tractor comes up off the ground a little bit. Now it sets back down as he drifts towards the left side of the track, and then he starts to dig in right there at the end. And here it is, 224, 2.8. 224, 2.8, and that is going to put Johnny Klug in second place right now behind Jerry Hart's 226, so he's just about 4 feet behind the lead.
And coming up, the man who won the 9,000-pound super stock class, trying to make it 2 in a row, Dickie Sullivan.
Dickie Sullivan now from Naylor, Missouri. A nice paint job on that side panel of his tractor. Another Case International tractor, and he's going to give his shot to take the lead.
Well, he has an entire top flight organization with his pulling, and Dickie Sullivan's been national champion. In fact, he is the defending national champion in this class, the 12,200 pound. Here's the Ford turbocharger setup. We've seen several of them here tonight already. He won the 9,000 pound super stock. He's got to beat 226, 7.2. He can turn the tires and make as much horsepower as anybody in this class can. Watch him let that foot come off the clutch. There he goes. The rice farmer from Missouri is on the way. He's moving, building power. And I don't believe he has done it. No.
Doesn't look like the pull is quite good enough to take the lead. Once again, as we've seen so many times tonight, right here around 200 feet, you think, boy, he's got it. He's going to pull it out.
War Eagle.
Here it is on the replay. He got the front end up off the ground a little bit. Right there around the 75-foot mark, it begins to lift up some. Here's a little drift towards the right, then back towards the left, then back towards the right, and digs in there at the end. A good strong pull, 220, 220 feet, and 6.4 inches. 226.4, so that's going to put him in 1, 2, I believe that'll put him in third place. Good enough for third place. A good run for Dickie Sullivan.
And the Alice Chalmers, who looked so good in the 9,000 pound super stock, will do battle next.
The Alice Cowboy from Indianapolis, Indiana. Al Cook has his Alice Chalmers hooked up and is ready to go.
All right, he's trying to match power for power. He also has a Ford turbocharger setup, and Al Cook and Norm Green and a number of the John Lancaster, a lot of the other AC guys have really tried to perfect to build as much power as these internationals can. They'd love to catch them, and it would be a real upset if they could do it. The distance to beat, 226, 7.2. Jerry Hart is in the lead on a Case International. And here comes Al Cook from the south side of the Indy 500 city. He leaves the line. He's got him turning. And that front end comes up. He's got it nicely balanced. Hey, he's got some speed. Hey, look, he's really rocking and rolling out there. And boy, he gave it all she's worth.
Sure did. And he had a lot of black smoke coming out of escaping out of the smoke tube that time. It's going to get a little smoky in here for a few minutes. The Alice Cowboy, that pull will probably put him somewhere around third or fourth place. A little bit of moisture dripping from the bottom of his tractor right now. Here it is on the replay. Away from the starting line in good shape, good tire speed, wheels a little bit off the ground.
One thing that Al has always had, he's had a very well-balanced tractor, and you'll notice he carried that front end.
And the pull comes in at 213 feet, 7.6 inches, 213, 7.6. Another local personality from Trafalgar, Indiana, John Lancaster, is now getting hooked up in another Alice Chalmers tractor to do his bid to take the lead away from Jerry Hart.
We have 5 tractors remaining in the class. 2 of them are ACs, and they're both excellent machines.
The green light is on the sled, and track work nearly done here.
This gives us a good idea since the camera's right on the tractor. You see the turbochargers. There's 2 under the hood, 1 on each side. Outside of the hood, you can see the dual pipes coming up. John Lancaster can build as much boost as anybody. He's got a good shot. He's rolling.
He had to get on the brakes there at the last minute. He was really headed towards that right sideline, and we'll be able to see that on the replay. So he had to touch the left brake, and I think he lost a little power at the end, although I don't really think he was going to pull it out the gate. John Lancaster, here it is on the replay. Got away from the starting gate in good shape. Front end comes off the ground a little bit of bouncing up and down. There he heads towards the sideline and pulls it back in. There you can see him hit that brake, and then he spins out. And the pull comes in at 209 feet, 10.2 inches. 209, 10.2 for John Lancaster of Trafalgar, Indiana. 4 more competitors to go, and Howard Meredith is up next. Now Howard Meredith from Y Mills, Maryland, is getting his Case International ready to go. Distance to beat remains 226 feet, 7.2 inches, and Jerry Hart hangs on to that lead. He was the 3rd official puller of the class and has had 6 pullers come after, and none have been able to better the mark. Howard Meredith will see what he can do about that. Now Howard Meredith has the green light from the sled. Green flag is up. Taking a little bit of time getting the engine set. Now he begins to roll, and he's away.
He's bouncing around just a little bit off the line, but he's still got good speed. He's looking good tonight. The Case International, he's stayed on the side. And his big Firestone tires getting a tremendous bite. You'll notice we get a good look at the tractor there on the tires. There is not much lug left on the tires, John. And of course, most of these guys, the tires are worn down. That's the way they want them as he takes off his helmet.
And he spun out right here in front of us, directly in front of us. He's going to be a little bit past 200 feet, maybe 210.
He was sliding around a little bit on the starting line and maybe didn't make quite as smooth a start as he wanted to, and also a straight start, but he's still going to be well past the 200-foot mark and be up there in the standings.
And it comes up as 207 3.0 for Howard Meredith out of Y Mills, Maryland. We've just received word here lately that Esden Lane will be coming back, so we still have 4 competitors to go. Danny Dean is listed on deck, and we'll keep an eye if he's up next or if it's going to be Esden Lane. And Danny Dean is set to run out of South Charleston, Ohio, and he will be the next to last. Well, no, we have 1 more coming back, so we still have 3 Case International tractors to see.
Well, Danny Dean is the puller that has won more championships here at the Indy Super Pole than anybody. That is the number 5. Dennis Brabeck on the Alice Chalmers has won 4, and Dave Stengel with the Minneapolis Moline several years ago came up with 4 wins in the years that he's pulled. Danny Dean has a shot. We've still got excellent tractors to run yet. Anybody could do it. The distance to beat still 226. 7.2. Jerry Hart is in the lead. Here we go. Danny Dean, the Rooster, very famous tractor from the Buckeye State. Hey, he's got power. He's got speed. There goes Rooster, and I believe he's going to come up short. John, we've seen a lot of speed tonight off the line.
And right about, you could really see that one take off about the 75-foot mark. That was about where he picked up the front end, and he carried it for a long way down the track. and then spun out. Oh, here it is on the replay. We'll watch that front end come up.
Danny has made a lot of adjustments to the tractor a year ago because there was some talk about him maybe getting in the 7,000-pound class, so he lightened up the chassis considerably, lowered the front end slightly, and he comes up with an excellent run of 219 feet, 2.5 inches.
And so that run will put him in, I believe, 4th place. All right, Max Simpson hooked up to the sled out of Charlotte, Michigan with an AC tractor. He'll be going for he'll be going for the lead held by Jerry Hart still.
All right, we've had a driver change at the last minute. Keith Haynes has come out from Charlotte, Michigan to do the driving for Max. Old Alice, hey, hey, hey. Nice run as they shut her down. You can always count on Keith Haynes and Max Simpson to be right there in the end in the 7, 9, and 12,000-pound class. In fact, they have been national champions in the 7,000-pound class on occasion. Keith Haynes.
It's a good shot of Keith, and here's the replay. A lot of tire speed early. You can see him spin, picks up the front end and carries it for a little way. There's a nice smooth run there. He drifts a little bit to the left side of the track, spins out right here in front of our broadcast table.
Now you notice some of the drivers that we've seen tonight, some of the internationals have had wheel weights inside the tires. Some of them have had weights right in front of the tires as well as out on the front. So their placement of the weights is critical for their pulls. The distance, 210 feet, 5.5 inches. 2 to go, John. It's beginning to wind down now. And you got to wonder what's going through Jerry Hart's mind, because he's got to feel somewhat confident that he's got a pretty good lead. Everybody's been hot on his tail, but they haven't quite had enough power in the end.
Jerry Van Dorpe now also from Charlotte, Michigan, in an international tractor. And as we mentioned, time running out for the competition to catch Jerry Hart.
And I would like to take this opportunity, even though it's been some time, over a year ago, to, as Jerry backs up, to say that this tractor used to belong to the late Jack Grant from Western Ontario, Canada. Jack was a long-time national NTPA puller. And upon his passing, which was very sudden a year ago this past fall, Jerry Van Dorpe bought the tractor and has campaigned it regularly, and a couple of great international pullers. International 986, this is a Ford turbocharger setup. You see the 2 on the outside of the hood. There are 2 under the hood, very similar to John Lancaster's setup, only on the AC. So Jerry Van Dorpe, he can build plenty of boost and make lots of power on his international, but he's got to make a whale of a run of 226 plus if he wants to take over the lead from Jerry Hart.
Green flag is up, green light on the sled.
He builds the boost. He'll build nearly 200 pounds, maybe more, of boost. A lot of air, a lot of fuel going through the engine. John, I think they fool every one of us. If I'd have been a betting man tonight, I'd have lost a lot of money, because I thought we would have had about 5 or 6 full pulls.
Again, a lot of speed built up between 150, 200 feet, a lot of speed, and then it just dug out here at the end. And it's not going to do to take the lead. It could well put him within the top 5. A pretty smooth run, not a lot of right to left motion once again. Not much height on the front of the tractor, perhaps a little heavy on the front. There you see him spin out and gets a nice dose of black smoke coming forward. There's a good shot of Jerry Van Dorpe, and here is the pull, 215 feet and 7.4 inches, 215, 7.4. And so Jerry Hart hangs on to that lead, and we should be seeing one more tractor, that being Esden Lane. Esden Lane now becomes the last man with a chance to knock Jerry Hart off the top of the pyramid.
Well, we've waited a while now. They had some problems with the smoke tube, and they had to fix it. You couldn't run him without the smoke tube, not because of blowing the smoke out in the arena for the last run, but it would not be fair to the other pullers, because there is a certain amount of resistance as the smoke goes into the smoke tube and the exhaust system.
Now they're getting it set, and we hear the smoke machine come to life.
The vacuolator is pulling the exhaust, the black exhaust of these diesel tractors, and of course, the blacker the exhaust, the more power that they are making. When you see white smoke around a diesel engine, it's a lot of unburned fuel, but when you see a lot of deep black smoke, you know that a lot of air and a lot of fuel is in there, and they are making power, and there is a fire in the engine.
Some of the smoke crew members still up on top of the tractor and working to connect that tube to the tractor, as Esden Lane waits his chance.
Just one more run. A lot of the people now have made their way to the automobiles thinking that, well, Esden may not have a shot, but you never know. As Yogi says, it ain't over till it's over, John. All right, he pulls up to a tight hitch. The chain is tight between the transfer and the tractor. He's set to go. We hear the smoke tube coming to life, sucking out the exhaust gases. He's had some bad luck with the tractor so far this weekend, but he'd love to change it all right now. The dairy farmer from Dayton, Minnesota, Esden Lane, ready to crank the tires. He's on it! And he has lost it. That's going to be the end of the pull. We waited a few extra minutes to see what might happen, and his Ford turbocharger system died at about the 100-foot mark. John?
And Esden Lane has just had tough luck in this year's Indy Super Pole. Once again, some kind of mechanical problem, never got power up, and so